Yo, what's up, Peak Senpai family? Welcome back to the channel where we turn every manga panel into cinematic chaos. If you love hype breakdowns packed with emotion, symbolism, and edge-of-your-seat action, you're in the right place. Today, we're tearing into Black Clover chapters 277 through 279, a stretch of pages where the Spade Kingdom raid escalates from brutal fights to pure, soul-crushing dread. Quick note before we dive. Chapter 277 actually kicks off with Yuno facing Zenon, not Charlotte, and that changes the momentum of the chapter's opening beat. We start on a high-tension duel and then ripple out into the rest of the war, so I restructured this entire breakdown to follow the correct flow. Why this stretch matters. The Spade Kingdom raid has always been about stakes. We're not just watching fights, we're watching the world tilt. The Dark Triad aren't random bosses, they're ritualists trying to open the Tree of Qliphoth and invite devils into our world. That threat reframes every clash. A victory here can buy a little time, a failure can mean catastrophe. Our heroes are exhausted, wounded, but driven by bonds. And Tabata uses that desperation to make these chapters emotionally heavy and visually stunning. In this video, I'll walk you through every major beat. The opening duel between Yuno and Zenon, the twisted radiance of Charlotte and Rill's conflict with Vanika, the savage explosion of Jack's rampage against Dante, Nacht's infiltration, and the creeping emergence of devil power, and the shocking moments in Chapter 279 that make the raid feel unstoppable. So, grab your grimoires and get ready to ride the storm. We're starting with Yuno. Let's go. The chapter throws us into the heat instantly. Yuno standing across from Zenon Zagratis, and the tension snaps like a drawn wire. Yuno's expression is cold. He doesn't shout. He states a single, immovable truth. Zenon will die, and he will regret meddling with the Golden Dawn. That line isn't just bravado, it's a thematic anchor. The Golden Dawn's legacy, Yuno's growth, and the idea that conviction actually becomes a weapon. Now let's break down that duel's rhythm. Where earlier chapters had Yuno in a more reactive mode, in this beat he's turned offensive. The art amplifies it. Panels compressed, speed lines slashing the gutters, and Yuno's magic manifesting with a rigid, deliberate geometry. You can feel Tabata telling the reader, this is not just another exchange. It's a turning point. Zenon, as a member of the Dark Triad and host to a devil, fights with bone-shattering precision and a demonic edge. He's not sloppy, he's confident. He wants to test Yuno, to see whether Yuno is the threat the Clover Knights think he is. For Zenon, this is theater. For Yuno, this is duty. That clash, theater versus duty, plays out in every panel. Yuno's strikes are measured, then suddenly cascade into a sequence that almost overwhelms Zenon. It's visual poetry, the storm of Yuno's magic chipping away at Zenon's composure. We also get a crucial Langris moment here. Langris watches the duel and thinks through the consequences. He observes the effect on slowing the Qliphoth ritual and how stopping Zenon helps rescue William Vengeance. This is important because it frames the duel as mission critical, not a hero's vanity match. The focus on Langris's internal calculus shows that even when Yuno is center stage, the stakes are strategic and far greater than a single victory. But the chapter isn't just Yuno. Elsewhere, other fights are prepping to explode. Charlotte's growth is hinted at in these pages. She's learning to weaponize the curse that once shackled her. That unlock is foreshadowed here and pays off later in the chapter, so the structure becomes layered. The opening duel establishes tactical breathing room, while the backlines prepare a counterstrike that shifts from one threat to another. Finally, Yuno's confrontation with Zenon ends with a visceral reminder. Even if Zenon loses ground here, the Triad's ritual is not a single-node problem. Stopping a Triad member isn't a one-shot fix. The chapter uses Yuno's near success to give readers hope, and then it steadily moves us into more complicated territory. That emotional incline is exactly what keeps viewers glued. We feel relief for a second, then realize the real challenge is just starting. While Yuno pushes Zenon, the narrative slices to another important front. Charlotte Rosalie and Rille Boismortier confronting Vanika, the Dark Triad member who revels in blood and curses. The earlier chapters seeded Charlotte's tragic history, the curse that held her back. Charlotte turns the curse into a weapon. Charlotte's plays. Her briar magic blossoms anew. True briar mastery, but not just as a fence. She manifests anti-curse roses, thorns designed not just to pierce flesh, but to dismantle curse magic at the molecular level. In visual terms, the roses don't just stab, they unweave the curse threads Vanica depends on. That's huge. It's catharsis. The thing that used to oppress Charlotte now saves her world. The rose petals dissolving the curse. Rill's painting magic pairs with Charlotte beautifully. His art provides the stage. Her roses are the performers. He paints constructs, colossal forms that carry Charlotte's roses into the fight, and their synergy turns the battlefield into a living canvas. Vanica's psychology is the foil. She's not just strong, she's sadistic. The pain feeds her. The more Charlotte's roses hurt, the more ecstatic Vanica becomes. That means Charlotte's assault is a paradox. It physically pressures Vanica, but emotionally amplifies her resolve. If you emphasize Vanica's smile and juxtapose it with Charlotte's unwavering against a foe who grows from harm, Charlotte's anti-curse technique isn't just damage, it's a statement about healing by taking ownership of pain. Charlotte's past. The curse she longed to abolish becomes the blade she wields. That emotional clarity makes the clash more than spectacle. Chapter 278 throws a spotlight on one of the raiding party's most unhinged sequences. Jack the Ripper goes full throttle against Dante, and the carnage is brutal. This is the chapter that gives Jack a monstrous showcase, where his severing magic and lunatic-slash techniques slice Dante repeatedly, but Dante's regeneration makes it look like he can't be felled by ordinary wounds. The net result, we learn Dante has near-constant regenerative defenses, and only anti-magic, like Asta's, can meaningfully hurt him. That gameplay fact is pivotal for the arc's power logic. This fight works because it changes the rules mid-battle. Jack's cuts look devastating, panels packed with gore and motion, but then Dante's wounds knit back together. The visual recurrence of healed wounds makes the fight feel Sisyphean. Of Jack's attacks and Dante stitching back together. Stitch eerie regeneration. Nacht's presence in these chapters is also key. He's not just a wild card, he's a strategist who toys with fates. Nacht and his devils give a meta level. When Dante tests Nacht with a gravity ramp-up, Nacht's calm, and his devil's responses, tell us he's measuring not just strength but motive. He smiles while the world trembles. That smile is unnerving. There's also characterization in Jack's backstory moments that bleed into this chapter. Why Jack fights the way he does, his lust for strong opponents, his internal demons. Wash one short, well-placed flashback into Humanize the Carnage. When Jack's severing slash finally lands and Dante's regeneration fails to fully negate the damage, the reader feels a victory that is equal parts triumph and dread. Because even if Dante falls here, devils and the Qliphoth rituals still threaten everything. The stakes never let us relax. Dante's enhanced regeneration reinforces the narrative idea that different enemies require different counters. Anti-magic is a recurring solution, but it's not omnipresent in every squad, which is why the raid team's split strategy becomes dangerous. Chapter 279 is where the psychological pressure morphs into physical catastrophe. Across the board, characters feel the weight. The Qliphoth ritual accelerates, the tree grows, and devils begin to slip through. The world's tone shifts, from struggle to potential collapse. Mereoleona taking down a burning demon outside the castle, while resistance fighters rally, but inside, things are far worse. The combined effect is a global montage of desperation. The arrival of devils and the reveal of devil hosts. You get shocks, characters who seemed human show marks. The underworld's influence bleeds through rites and bodies, and even previously contained threats surge with new demonic ferocity. The presence of devils like Burumide, and hints of others, creates a sense that the raid's time frame is collapsing. It's not just fights anymore, it's containment and damage control. The sudden escalation makes every decision urgent and irreversible. Nacht, who's been operating in the shadows, finally gets a beat where his choices are revealed as strategy rather than caprice. He uses his devils and modes to scout and counter the ritual's locus. When the tree of Qliphoth's roots begin overtaking the castle, the art becomes claustrophobic. Panels thin out, Shadows take over gutters, and the contrast between despair and determination becomes brutal. Mereoleona's exterior battle. Outside the castle, she dismantles a burning demonic threat in a display of feral strength that reminds everyone why she's the Vermilion's proper nightmare. That outside win provides a small but necessary contrast. The heroes can still be monstrous on their own terms, and some victories remain possible even as the larger ritual threatens everything. It's a quick beat of triumph before the chapter pulls the rug again. By the chapter's close, the creeping doom is undeniable. The Qliphot's roots coat the castle like a second skin, devil pieces fall through, and the Dark Triad's plan has actually advanced. Characters are battered. And that wraps our corrected and expanded take on chapters 277 to 279, starting properly with Yuno's confrontation and riding the narrative wave through Charlotte's catharsis, Jack's brutal showcase, and the watershed moment where devils start crossing over. If you love this deep dive, show it. Hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss the next breakdown. I put a lot of energy into these scene-by-scene calls, and your support keeps the channel alive. Thanks for sticking through the long read. This was Peak Senpai bringing heat from the pages of Black Clover. Stay hyped, stay vocal, and I'll see you in the next breakdown. Stay peak.